talked about Tristan's injury.
Yep.
I guess what's your level of concern about that heading into camp, and you kind of analyze where your kicking position's at?
I'm good. I watched him kick the other day on Monday. It was a rehab thing, so I just was watching from afar just to see, what it looked like and what his reaction was. And I got him coming off the field. I was kind of looking at it and just more from an evaluation standpoint. And he was fine. Like he's kicking. He's just not at the point where he's going to kick off right now. In terms of that kind of push. So as of right now, I'm not overly concerned.
Is that just a wear and tear injury? Did something happen?
Yeah, it's pretty much so. The guys when they get into the situation where they're kicking, and we've dealt with this with the Carolina Panthers a couple of times. There's this kind of groin up and I'm not a medical person, but I just know that it wears. It's not something where it's like a dynamic injury. It's just something like, if you're kicking year round at the quantity that we're kicking, sometimes they get a little bit worn out. Sometimes they never do. It's just one of those things that he came out of the spring okay, and then he was kicking on his own, and he came back in one day and he was like, this doesn't feel right, and we were kind of working through it, and then they did something. I don't know. Again, I'm not a doctor. It's not a major thing right now. It's just something that we've got to work through. The timing of it was actually good. I mean, obviously I'd like him to be kicking right now, but like if he had done that and he had come into the training room this week or next week or last week, it would be way more of a concern. It's something that we've been dealing with and working on since early June.
And the change this year that allows more coaches to work with players in practice and games, how can that impact special teams to have additional coaches, whether they're analysts or whatever, quality control, who are now out there on the field able to help you do the things you want to do in that aspect?
It's a big help for me, especially because, I like to segment what we're doing. It really helps a lot in meetings as much as it does on the field. So, I was segmenting that anyway, but you imagine in this day and age with the attention that these kids have, I'm trying to coach all 11 in a meeting or on the field. It just doesn't work. So to be able to separate those guys and to have guys that can coach. So, Garrett, for example, was taking the gunners over to another field, and he was working specifically with the gunners, the wide guys on the punt team, while I was working with the interior part of the unit. Now he can get help over there. So we can get some young coaches over there. Like Rashawn Melvin was a gunner for me in Carolina. To have him over there to be able to coach those guys over there on the gunner field is invaluable experience and teaching that can go on now for us to coach that at a higher level. Just using that as an example, and that example is across the board. So to have other guys that can coach those positions specifically, is really important. I'm going to try to operate this year as these rules come forward, and as I'm, learning more as I'm, over the years. I want to do it a little bit more like the offense and defense has done, and we're transitioning from this punt team out there, running against the scout punt return team to now individualized drill work and individualized positions. We're going to go through tomorrow and start with separation where, one of the coaches who couldn't coach before, Josh Martin, is going to have the shield. And then, G will still have the gunners, but he'll have help over there. And then I'll have the interior with me and having guys like, Josh and Jack to be able to help coach the interior. Now we can work in stations here, have the shield here, have the gunners over there, and they're all getting a high level of coaching. I'm really excited about that. And I wanted to do more of that last year, but you're restricted by the coaching thing. But now it's going to really be something that we can take advantage of. I'm excited about it. Very excited about it.
I know it's really throughout camp, but who are some names as return men options that you'll trot out there?
It's too early for me to say, but I can tell you that there's some young guys that have come around and have done it throughout the spring. This is kind of the development part of it. Where we saw some things in the spring, and now we add some more stuff to it here in the preseason and see, how they can react. I'm not going to, just stand up like what Ja'Cory did in the spring game was that's the real deal. I mean, that's a really big time cut. It's good vision. It's got speed. He's running down the field with enough speed. So that's exciting. But now day in and day out, how's the decision, how are the decisions with somebody like that? But there's a few guys that are in that situation. I can tell you also that, IGC as a punt returner, really had a great spring for us and kind of emerged as a guy that I'm really confident that the coaches are really confident. Coach Brown's doing a great job of coaching those guys specifically. And again, another product of having somebody being able to go out there and coach them is going to be like really good for them. So like that part of it, he's a guy that I think it would be a guy that I could mention at this point on the punt return game, but there's some other guys that are out there. But I feel really good about the return game. There's some guys out there that have some experience, and there's some guys that are young that have some good skills.
Coach Camden Cook in the program. Has Sam Cook been around much? Have you been able to talk to him?
I was able to talk to Sam before Camden, and since Camden, it's been good. Yes, I mean he's more of a guy that's like just somebody that I can call, just to say, hey, whatever. This is what I'm seeing, and what do you think, and that kind of stuff. Just kind of a sounding board. But yes, I mean, he's been I will say this, that him and the guys that have kicked and punted at Nebraska have been a tremendous resource, just as sounding boards. And guys that have been around, and guys that I can share, kind of like, and talk to them and just say, this is what I'm seeing, or what issues did you have with this, and so like that's been really good for us.
Coach Rule has said in the offseason numerous times that the weather and the wind really kind of surprised him last year. I mean, how much did it affect you and your guys, and how much do you appreciate that Rule, especially in the cold weather months, wants to go outside and practice in the elements?
Yeah, that's great, and I want to, I will take the guys. I'll take the guys. The guys want to be in the stadium, as much as possible. So to be working for, a guy like Coach Rule, he's always been like, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? So we go into the stadium even when we're practicing out over here. So it allows us to get our work out there. Last year was great. We practiced every Wednesday night in the stadium, so we were getting some night work and we were getting some stadium work built in. But even if we don't have that, the ability to go in there, I think it's an advantage for us knowing what the wind conditions are here. We've always we've dealt with the wind. I've dealt with the wind probably more, to a greater extent than a lot of the other coaches, just because of the kick game part of it. But to be able to go in there and do that, and now to have the kind of the knowledge of what the stadium is about here, and kind of what the trends are with how the wind is, it's going to help us moving forward. Just coming up with a game plan to do the best we can with that.
What kind of an offseason has Bushini had, at least from what you've gathered?
Brian, when we go back and look at the practice film, as we look at how he's advanced, what he's done with his body is striking. Like he is, we've gone back and forth with the body weight, but the body weight isn't really the issue. It's really kind of how he's kind of grown into this weightlifting, and Corey's done a great job with him. The strength guys have done a great job with him. So he's really a different kind of body athlete than he was when I first got here. So that's the most striking thing, is how he's kind of trimmed down, but he's more explosive and he's stronger. So that part of it has been really good. And then he's a pro. So he goes out there, and even when I was on vacation over the course of July, I'm getting the clips, and we're having discussions about things that he's working on. Hey, coach, today I'm going to work specifically on this and this and this. So he's at the point where, we're fine tuning certain things that we're going to try to do better this year. And he's been great to work with. He's had, I think, I thought he had a good spring. I think he's having a really good summer, and I'm expecting him to have a really good year for us.
You don't have to replace Marco.
Yes.
Just how tough is that adjustment been, and what can you learn from the spring period as well?
Well, the great thing with from losing Marco is having Camden as his backup, and having those guys work together, for the year, and then working under our system for a year. Camden, Marco had the preparation of being able to work and play as a college player at the University of Florida, so he had some experience. Camden doesn't have that game experience, but now he has the experience of working for multiple years, in the system here, and then with us last year. So I feel really good about Camden. He's another guy that's like, a pro, and Marco comes back here and trains still. So Marco's training here, and they're getting work together beyond just what he's doing in the weight room. So I feel really good about Camden, I really do. Camden he's a different kind of skill set than Marco. He's a little bit more compact. He's gained, he's gained about 11 pounds since the beginning of this calendar year of good weight. He's explosive, he can run. I think he's going to, I don't think we're going to be, I'm not concerned about us, short of him not having the game experience, which is obviously effective, but I've seen him snap so many times and do so many things at such a high level that I feel really good about him.
Coach Rule said his son's gonna be in training camp. Is your son doing the same thing? And what's that gonna be?
We got a family affair with the Foleys here now. So I got a son in equipment, and I got a son in operations, and then I got my daughter wants to come down here and work with. She's in love with the nutrition staff here, so she comes in and makes shakes in the morning. So I don't know if they're working or if they're just coming to hang out, and then they're whatever. There's a body over there. Get over here. It's there's work to be done. So you'll see my guys will be out there. A lot of the coaches' kids will be out there running around. And it's one of the great, again, been with Coach Rule for a long time, and one of the great things is he wants the kids around. He understands the time. The time commitment on our end, and he allows our kids to be in here, and that's one of the reasons that we've been together for so long. We have just our great Brian and Luke played golf. I started playing golf with them on Sunday, and then I was like, all right, it's my day off. I'm getting frustrated. I'm going to leave. You guys keep going. And they played 18. I played about 8.5. But yeah, so, but like my son was like, well, what do you we had, because we had two, and then Brian came in. So then my nephew's here, so he's a student here. So yeah, we got all kinds of things rolling around here with these guys. Keeps us on our toes.
Good. All right. Thanks, guys. Play.
Thank you, guys. Firethorn.